And we're back.
We are. Hello.
Hello.
But we only did that once. We
Yeah,
didn't mess
no,
it up.
no problem.
The intro at all. This is hey. The only people that see the
Jen
mess
saw
ups
nothing.
are the people that watch us
She
live.
probably
on
didn't
the
even
internet.
notice. And
Yeah.
you know.
And I'm just like, no, it's ruined. Hello, good morning.
It is. Hi, how are you?
Good.
It is an easy thing to overlook because they look the same.
I changed the file.
No, I know.
Streamlabs.
I mean, like, oh, it's
Streamlabs sabotaged me.
Well, what do we have here?
Yeah. Welcome to
I was
Magical Theory
thinking,
Podcast.
as we were starting, that by far my Magical Theory podcast, especially live, it must be wearing this sweatshirt.
Yeah.
Because as it started to get cold.
Let's do a catalog. We have the episodes.
Oh
Let's
my gosh,
look at the
it's
thumbnails.
gotta
How many
be
times
50%.
is Jeff wearing the
50%.
underground sweatshirt in red?
It's easily 50%. And the reason is because it's Sunday and I'm like, this is my relax. I wake up and I put this on.
Yeah.
And I don't think about it.
Yep.
Until I sit down and I'm like, well, I guess people are gonna have to see me in this sweatshirt.
Yeah, we
again.
gotta lay out the other. Well, we have you have a Magical Theory hoodie that is gray.
Here's a thought. What is the Underground's role in Hogwarts Legacy? We're gonna have to explore
the
this.
Underground. So we're actually making,
or are we gonna have to start a different?
The Underground
org.
Is the organization where if you play the evil character, the evil version of using ancient magic in Hogwarts Legacy. I guess we'll find out in
AKA
2022.
I was also wearing that the other night too. Yes.
Jeff,
it's my comfort thing.
He loves the red one specifically.
Yes, it's very comfortable. After work, I'm just like, I take my work thing off and pop this on. Because I don't think about it because I'm like, oh, I'm just at home. Like, it's fine.
Check the description for the link to this merch that you can also have, or a Jeffrey's Red Underground hoodie.
I can't find my gray one, my Magical Theory.
Okay.
I gotta look for it again.
Yes, we put away our winter clothes and then we never fully pulled them back out.
No, we don't. Yes. I think all of last winter
I didn't. California, it's not that wintry.
It's not as frequent. So then it's like, well, I got what I mean. Never change the Discord name.
Nope.
It won't.
The Underground forever.
Underground forever, for sure.
What else is going on? We finished our part 2.
We did last night.
Deathly Hallows.
Yes.
We admired all of Voldemort's awkward noises. As he's
yes, they're brilliant. Yes.
I love one of my favorite. Yes, exactly. In addition to the awkward Draco hug, I love when Neville's like, "I've got something to say," and he's just like. You can see like he's about to malfunction in his brain.
The coiling snake.
Yeah, I just love it. He's just like, yeah.
I'm sure we would all love to hear what you have to say. Avada Kedavra.
Speaking of, they announced a 20th anniversary HBO Max cast reunion thing. Well, not my first thought. It's probably my third or fourth thought after was. It could be possible that they try to bring people back for a 50th year anniversary, something.
It's absolutely possible. It's
almost they're kids, right? So
yeah, they'll be 60 something.
Yeah.
So yes, I remember actually an interview, and this was a while back, I think, on Conan. It was either Elijah Wood or it was Daniel Radcliffe. It might have happened with both of them, where they talked about how when they meet people, that people had started being like, oh my God, I'm old, because he is old.
Yeah. You're like, oh.
He's like 31.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Old.
There you go.
Old.
Well, I mean, yes. Because people that was part of the discussion, is like being frozen based on a character in time.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, oh, I expect Daniel Radcliffe to be like
actually,
a kid.
No, to be fair, like every time I see pictures of Bonnie Wright, who plays Ginny, I'm like,
that's right.
Oh gosh,
sure, yes.
Wow.
Yes.
You are
or
a person
Matthew
who
Lewis.
aged. Yeah.
Or Tom Felton. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. It's pretty great. It's really fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the same thing happens if I look at pictures of myself. So I'm like, it's not that different.
So Jen is saying they're going to have to do it 25 year, 30, 40. So every 5 years.
I'm in. Yeah.
Every 5 years we'll do so. 5 to 10 years.
Yes.
All right.
Should we get into it?
I'm ready. That was the only updates that I had. Juan's ready.
Turn to page 193. Mad-Eye Moody. Today's lesson is called Appearances. Wow. Appearances Can Be Deceiving. The chapter begins with our trio on the morning of their first day of classes. First is Herbology, then Care of Magical Creatures, then Divination for Ron and Harry, and Arithmancy for Hermione. In Herbology, they collect bubotuber pus. In Care of Magical Creatures, they try to feed newborn blast-ended skrewts. And in Divination, Professor Trelawney predicts, surprise, surprise, bad things for Harry.
Bad things.
Bad things. Hermione has resumed eating, but is visiting the library frequently for unknown reasons. After classes, Malfoy harasses Ron over a Daily Prophet article about Arthur and troubles at the Ministry. When Harry insults Draco's mother, Draco attacks him, but Harry doesn't need to defend himself, as Moody has already transfigured Draco into a ferret. When McGonagall steps in, Moody takes Malfoy to see Snape instead.
I know Wizards Unite is ending in January, but they should have had a Draco foundable where he's just like, there is that transfiguring constantly for, in the foundable, confoundable pairing. They should have had Draco infinitely being transformed into a ferret.
Wow. That would have been lovely. I didn't even realize that isn't a foundable.
No, it's like the Slytherin girl who gets transformed over and over.
That's right.
But it would be funny if it were
Draco.
That's
why it's in my brain.
Yeah, yeah. You were talking and I was thinking, so the description that I chose to put for the live notification to people is, why is everyone at Hogwarts so sus? Hermione's being shady. I mean, we know Hermione's good, but like Hermione's being secretive. We have Draco just always being awful to any person that crosses his path. He's terrible. We have Moody being some type of turning students into things and
Here's
whatever.
A question for you. Do you think Draco is ever nice to anybody?
No, he doesn't have any. What reason? His mom. What
about Astoria?
His mom. I think he's later. This is after.
Okay, so as of right now, you think he's basically Dudley?
I think he is. Yes, he is like a mama's boy.
But Dudley has friends.
He only cares about
and
his
the
mom.
only time we see Malfoy
Dudley
interact with
Crabbe
and Goyle, at least in the movie, he insults them.
Yeah, but
over and over again.
Do you think Dudley is nice to his friends?
Yeah.
You think Dudley is nice to his friends? And just mean to Harry and other people?
Mm-hmm.
I guess so. I don't know. I feel like
I don't know why I think that.
When I think of like archetypal bullies, I just think of them being mean, even to the people that they like or are nice to. They're just mean all the time. Yeah,
it could be.
I don't know.
It definitely could be.
I don't know. But yeah,
no, everyone is pretty sus.
Everyone is
100%. Yeah, there's a lot. The sussery.
First day of classes, you have sus bubotuber stuff. Why? Ew. Like the description of it, I was
That's not sus.
It's not okay. It's not sus. It's just gross. So gross bubotuber.
Hagrid is sus.
Hagrid.
He's just like, well, I don't know.
Well, that's like, he's like, I've never owned one, but let's figure it out.
He's a phenomenal teacher. That is a wonderful way to approach. It's just like, because they're literally taking care of magical creatures.
Well,
his excitement is about like these were just born. You can see them like through their life. It's great. That's how it should be. He did the same thing with the hippogriff. Like he had a really good lesson.
And Dean got his arm burned off.
Yeah, well, yeah.
It's
dangerous.
Why are you shooting fire out of your butt? Like,
why do they shoot it out of their mouths for dragons?
For what purpose? Well, I can see for a dragon, you're like shooting it at someone.
Butt is better because it's a great defensive technique. You'd be like, I'm on the run here and light them up.
Oh, and then in Divination, Ron being sus by asking Lavender to see her
Uranus.
Yeah. This whole school is sus.
Yeah. I love that exchange because then it's like Trelawney sounded much more like McGonagall.
Oh,
she like gets mad.
Yeah,
she's like,
she was very.
You will produce a parchment.
Oh my gosh,
that was great.
Well, the quote I wrote was about Harry. Harry was like, "Oh, Hermione's right. Trelawney's a fraud. Like, I don't. But then what was interesting was at the end of that thought, he was just like, I'm not really feeling whatever word she used to describe him. Except for serious. And then I was like, oh no, like I can see this is how this happens.
Yes, that's exactly
that's how it happens.
That's why you say vague
you're
things.
Like, I'm not doing
people
this.
Just
and then
ascribe it.
People fill in the gaps. This is actually
the thing about horror that we talked about. I think it was John Krasinski reacting to like an old interview of maybe Hitchcock. I can't remember.
Yeah.
Being like, or no, it might have even been like his mom or something. It was some story, and it was about A Quiet Place.
Yeah.
Thinking about like, no, don't show it. Mm-hmm. It might have been Emily Bloom. I don't remember who said it to him, but it was basically he was Emily like, no, Emily Blunt. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was basically like,
no, I think it was he was watching an interview.
Yeah.
And that was like the advice he took away from it, because the human mind is scarier than anything that you could display on a screen in front of you.
Right, that's right. What people will imagine is going to be scarier than what you can show them.
Yeah, I
don't know, is dragon's breath acid reflux?
Yeah, it's just coming out.
I mean, if you're evolved to have it, then I imagine it doesn't hurt.
Yeah,
if it's just a natural part of
the throat is probably like.
Although I say that, and like there are natural parts of being a human that hurt.
I guess I'm not sure. Yeah. So, Hermione is eating again. Yes. Ron, as usual, is teasing her for everything. I'm like, Ron, get your own life. Obsess over. Yeah, no, I always tease Ron. I'm just like, oh my god, that's what he's there Ron.
Yeah, like a bee.
Oh, and then so this whole Malfoy exchange. So Malfoy is terrible, but we were learning it was this Daily Prophet piece, which Rita Skeeter is also sus. Let me just list all of the
can't even get the names right.
Worst people. She's like Arnold Weasley. Can't be bothered to. Why do you still have a job, Rita Skeeter? You can't even do it well. Can't do it well. And so she's just like going on. And it's clearly Arthur, because it's like, oh, he got the citation or whatever for having a flying car, and he works in this office, and Draco's just going on and on and on. But that's why I said, like, I think Draco's only friend is his mom. Or like the only person he's nice to is his mom.
He really got mad.
He got very mad. So much so that he was gonna Avada Harry, just like his dad did in the second movie.
Yeah. Okay, so Zira asks that it's or comments that it's interesting it was published in the Daily Prophet instead of like an insert. It was I made a mental note. Now I can't remember exactly how Rita Skeeter was referred to. Special correspondent or something like that.
Oh, I don't have my book is in the other room.
She doesn't necessarily have like a full-time job. She's probably like submitting. It's really annoying to me that she messes up the name.
Well, okay, so the Daily Prophet, let's just take it as like a reputable it's the main source of wizarding news in Europe. It's like the most read newspaper.
Yep.
Yeah, sure. We'll hire Rita as a freelancer. She's gonna get us more reads, even though you don't need more reads. You have no competition.
Gotta get them clicks.
No one else is competing against you for the main spot. Yeah, so we'll just
they're not.
We'll just add a dose of drama.
Yeah.
The Quibbler, yeah.
It's a really great representation of news media and like the whole idea of media coverage. It's actually like quite
well, I wonder. Okay,
quite
so
accurate.
We later find out that she's an animagus, but I wonder, because it's like the Lockhart thing. It's like, how do these people, like, I don't understand how you like rise to the top. Like, they must be charismatic. Like, she must be able to like talk her way in and be like, yeah, like this is what I do. And then she builds a name for herself, and then everyone's like, oh yeah, Rita Skeeter. The Life and Lies of Albus Dumbledore.
We know why. It's because she's an animagus, and that's how she gets the scoop.
Yes, yeah. So,
But it's a similar process. I think one thing that's really critical is that you have the Daily Prophet, there must be other things in there that are more kind of factual and boring in some sense. And then you put it next to Rita. And so there's a symbiotic relationship because Rita gets to sort of live off of the reputation of being right, and they get to live off of like, well, this is just an editorial type of an approach of like, oh, it's just an editorial, like,
yeah,
but they get all the money, you know. So it's
Well, it's all the reputation thing is very similar to Lockhart as well.
Yes, sure.
Like he basically, so in both cases, they're both stealing to get attention and get ahead, which is pretty bad.
Yes. It's something that's missing from the movie that's notable as well, is the Rita. Because in the movie, right, so there's this Hagrid and Madame Maxime sort of relationship, and it also happens in the book, but there's much more depth to it in the book because there's like an expose and saying that Hagrid is half giant and all of that. Yes.
Yeah. Rita's the worst. Yeah, so Spooky's commenting on whether the Quibblers left and Rita is right in terms of the content. I don't know if I know the content of the contents or specific. Do you know specific like articles or things? I know that Xenophilius Lovegood is the editor of the Quibbler, but I don't know if I can speak to any particular pieces that are published in the Quibbler.
Yeah.
I mean, I imagine just knowing Luna, like it would be.
I'm even trying to reflect on pieces in the Daily Prophet that we see in their entirety.
Well, yeah. So we only see headlines, really.
Probably.
Like in the movie, particular. Oh yeah, I guess we did. Yeah, in the book we see pieces about. I mean that just seems more informational of like, escape, Azkaban, escapee, something. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And then some quotes.
I guess we'll see more of it. Well, there's especially in the movie, like the montage of it with the moving pictures, I think like adds to the headlines of it all. Because you have like the headline, especially with Umbridge and all of that coming in later, way later.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it's not that much later. It's
1 year.
more soon than I'm thinking of it. Oh, Bigfoot and aliens. Yeah, I could see that. Well, I mean, Luna seems to like talk about a lot of like Nargles and Raxperts, and everyone's like, what? Well, or is it everyone, or is it just Harry who's like, what? No, everyone's kind of like, what?
Yeah. But it is another nice use of a secondary device to have us learn about Moody. Like I think when we think about like how J.K. Rowling is doing the mystery here, I think, especially in retrospect, as people who know the story.
Oh, right, because the story is about Moody.
This Moody event comes up a second time.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, oh, I guess we should be thinking about this.
Yeah, it wasn't just about Arnold Weasley over here, even though
it was really about Moody.
It was about Moody because it was about that situation.
Yes.
Yeah, it does, especially because it's kind of like a bigger, well, so we got the sort of local, like when it happened, that's when Arthur was like scrambling, right?
Yes,
we saw
with
that
Amos.
in the
From
like
the Burrow.
in the family perspective of like, of course Ron and Harry know because like they were literally there with Arthur. But now this is kind of speaking to, well, this is something more notable because it's like vast Wizarding World kind of talk of people
it's
are
really
talking
good
about
follow
it.
through, right? Because the whole, if you're gonna make it out as Amos saying this is an emergency, then to have the follow through of like it would be probably written about, because it's like a story that Moody is who he is and is going to work at Hogwarts, and this event happens where Muggles witness, the exploding bins or whatever. It's really interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, so we are going to see more of Rita in this book.
Yes.
A lot more of Rita.
Yes, a lot.
Of Harry Potter, age 12. or whatever she keeps saying over and over in the movie.
Tears in his eyes.
I don't have the look of my dead parents or whatever, the ghost of my parents haunting me.
Don't you? We just watched the last part of the movie.
I know.
Summoned forth.
I know.
It was very sad. Anyway.
Yes, the movie is very sad.
It's really good.
I mean, the story it's sad, but it's like, I don't know, it's satisfying.
It's moving.
It's sad and sad. Yeah, moving is the right word.
Yeah.
For sure.
What else is going on in this chapter?
What
Anything
else
else interesting? Hermione's being sus, but we'll get into that.
Yeah, because I mean, Hermione was sus last book as well. Just
popping over to the library,
being to the what was the thing with? Never mind. That was a different game that I was playing. It was something like, when girls get upset, they go to the library, or they go some. I don't remember. It was a weird line.
Not a trope that I'm used to.
I'm familiar with Hermione Granger.
Yeah, except for Hermione.
I guess. I mean, she's always at the library. It's not just when she's sad.
Yeah. So she's got a mission.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of anything else. I didn't really take many notes. I just wrote down the quote of Harry saying that
it's one of those chapters where it's quite expositional. It's the first day of school, and here's a reminder of what school looks like. And then
there's always I'm gonna backtrack. Section. I feel like there's always a first day of school scene or series of
I think so.
They go through their classes and they tell you this is what they did.
I don't think she ever starts
day.
In the middle of the semester. Yeah, there's always the first day.
Well, it's like the benchmark points. Like, okay, classes have begun. Like, what's it like? How do we wizard? My favorite, one of my favorite, we kind of talked about it already, was Hagrid being like, because Draco's like, what do they do? Like, why? He's basically like, why do they? And Hagrid's like, that's tomorrow's lesson. Yeah. It's just like, oh dear.
I'm not really sure what to feed him. I don't know everything that they do. He doesn't even know male, female for sure.
Oh, man.
Which was funny.
Oh, man. Yeah, well...
He's like, I don't know. They have a blood-sucking thing on the end of them.
Well, for someone who, going to expertise, for someone who has been around creatures, kind of like Newt, just being like, well, I'm not going to be afraid. Like, I know that, we can just figure out how to care for them.
Something that's really, I think, critical to Hermione, or to Hagrid, and probably Newt as well, is the willingness to experience physical pain. And recognize it as just part of interacting with a different species and trying to understand them.
And you're like, okay, I won't do that.
Yeah. It's a different type of, it's not like emotional pain very frequently. It is just a preparation. Like Hagrid's prepared for a dragon to breathe fire in his face and things like that.
Yeah. And even you can react. Really that's the thing about expertise is you can make decisions in the moment. Even if it's just you're reacting to something that's unexpected, that's you are well equipped to do that. Even if you do get physically harmed, it's not the end of the world. It's not like
and it's worth it because it's to an end, right? They're trying to, it happens in the course of trying to better connect with magical creatures. It's not a big deal in the sense that yes, maybe a hippogriff will kick you.
Meanwhile, Lucius is like, execute it.
Yes, right. That's right. So they're not prepared. They're saying that physical pain is not worth
this is
any interaction.
It's too dangerous. Don't even try.
Yeah. It's pretty. Hagrid is a great character. So is Newt. It's interesting, to see the two of them and that they are quite different. But then they also have such an obvious similarity because they do have the same disposition, it feels like, towards just general creatures, magical creatures, and life in general.
Yeah.
I mean, Hagrid has a dog.
Yeah. And a spider.
And a spider.
And a giant spider.
And a dragon at one point. And a hippogriff.
He was little mischief Hagrid. He's like, I would love to have a dragon.
Yeah.
Oh, just you wait.
Yeah. It's it's fun. Hagrid is just a great character. He anchors a lot. I think also, Moody is really interesting already because we're left with, I like the idea of leaving us with Ron's excitement based on secondhand accounts of Moody's classes. So Ron is excited for a class, which is a different type of an experience for us as readers as well, where he's like, oh, we don't have it until Thursday.
Well, yeah, at the end, that's when they like Fred and George and...
Because they already had the lesson Dean, on the unforgivable curses.
Or no, who was it? Not Dean. Dean's in their year. I don't know who it was, but yeah, so they were...
Maybe Lee. I don't remember who else was talking.
Yeah. Well, okay, so what struck me, though, is, and I know, like, I often, like, flavor the movie vibe with, like, what I think is happening, and then, sometimes I get it mixed up in my brain of, like, okay, what actually does happen in the book, but, yeah, it was... In the movie, the scene, which is the next chapter for the unforgivable curses, is, like, super intense. Like, that to me is like...
No, it's super intense.
It's like, this is Snape. Like, this person is Snape.
No,
it's
he's
not,
more crazy than Snape.
Well, no, but like, if we're on a continuum of like cool professors, like Lupin versus Snape, like we're on the Snape side. But it's interesting
to think about, because I've also often thought about at least the way the movie, because I don't quite remember when it happens. I think it does happen on the first day, maybe, of Slughorn's potions class, where he has them. Now this is Newt level, so it's maybe not as surprising, but he has them make the draft of living death, which is all. It's like a similar concept of learning unforgivable curses. Like, I mean, he even says it in the movie. He's like, I dare say one drop would kill us all, and it's like, oh my god, what are we talking about here, right? It's just very, very practical. It's similar to bubotuber. It's similar to blast-ended skrewts, where it's just like the wizarding school. Hogwarts can be very practical oriented.
Is the draft of living death banned in the wizarding world?
I don't think so.
Like, unforgivable curses are
using it
illegal.
I don't know. It's a great question. I don't know. Yeah.
So
maybe they use it to
baby drink. Yeah.
Kill invasive species or something. I have no idea.
Yeah.
Because you can drip it on things. I think you don't have to. I don't think you have to consume it. I really don't know. But yeah.
Well, wait. So then why did it turn the leaf gold?
No, it doesn't. It kills it.
Oh, it kills
it. It like disintegrates it.
Oh, okay.
Because he drops it in there, right?
I have been misinterpreting that whole scene. I was like, I turned it into gold. No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are no safety laws in the wizarding world.
Just put on your dragonhide gloves and let's get to business.
It's like haphazard. It's like some things are banned and some things aren't, like love potions. And it's, it is what it is. You can market and sell it if you want to.
You might spawn a Voldemort, but whatever.
You might spawn a Voldemort. It's fine. No problem.
No big deal. But Moody is interesting. I mean, it is...
Oh, we didn't get an auror. Dark lizard catcher. Right. I love that scene.
Yeah.
Just for no reason. It's not an interesting scene. It's just
fill us in.
An horror. That's all that I had for this chapter. Because we're gonna get into some unforgivable.
Will be good. He's a real enigma. It's another great thing to be rereading and realize that that's not Moody, which is also interesting.
Spoiler! No, just kidding. Yeah. Just kidding.
Yes. Yeah. That it had to be
him.
It
is interesting because every time he talks, I'm thinking about like what he's saying. He's like,
he makes the comment about Lucius,
or yeah.
And
he's like, I know your father very well, and it's like,
another old friend.
Well, yeah, Moody would know Lucius probably, but so would somebody else.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, no, it's great. Yeah, it's a really, really smart plot device because it's like take somebody who is a Death Eater and somebody who captured Death Eaters. They would have interacted with similar people.
I would be terrible at impersonating someone else. I think I would forget that I am impersonating someone and be like, oh yeah.
You'd be Hermione as Bellatrix.
I would slip, yeah.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
You're Bellatrix Lestrange.
A doughy-eyed schoolgirl. Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Okay.
All right.
I'm happy.
Until next time.
Wands ready.